Shabbat Shalom from Ramot, Yerushalayim. We read this week in Parashat Toldot one of the most famous stories across the Bible, across the Chumash. We have the deception of Rivka, where she takes her two sons as Yitzchak's giving out the blessing, and she intervenes to put Yaakov in place of Esav. She sends him off to get some goat skins and says that he should pretend to his father that he's actually his brother. What's going on here, right? How is Rivka allowed to do this deception? How is that appropriate for a matriarch? Furthermore, these blessings aren't just some fluffy, magical idea. They're blessings on behalf of God. God's watching the whole thing. He knows the whole story, right? How on earth did Rivka think this would work? Furthermore, when you think about it, a father should know his sons, right? Did some goat skin really make a difference? The whole thing just sounds a bit crazy, a bit comical. So one of our, very important Jewish thinkers in the 19th century, who lived in Germany, or Samson Raphael Hirsch, has a lot to add to the Jewish landscape. He has a fascinating insight. He accepts all these questions and says, of course, it doesn't make any sense. The only way to understand it is that Rivka knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to make any sense, that it was a total comical masquerade, and the whole point was for actually her and the tricks to be found out. What does he mean by that? He means that what had happened prior to that was Rivka had been trying her best to tell Yitzchak that Esav was fooling him. And although Yitzchak thought that Esav was going to be, carrying on the generation together with Yaakov, Rivka knew better. Rivka had the understanding that mothers do that this wasn't possible, but Yitzchak was being fooled. So Rivka thought to herself, if I can create a plan where I can fool Yitzchak, then Yitzchak himself will realize how easy it is to be fooled and how he's being fooled for Esav. And that's exactly what happens. As the story continues and Yitzchak reflects and realizes the whole thing just unravels, and there he is with his son Esav, who he thought was the next tzaddik, but actually was a real Rasha. Reflecting on what this message takes away for us today in 2019, it's powerful. We make decisions all the time. What we're going to do with our kids, what we're going to do with our lives, our jobs, our study, what we eat, our exercise, and we're constantly struggling with all this information how to make the right decision. The Torah has such a deep message. Even to our wonderful matriarchs, our patriarchs, we are vulnerable to making mistakes. We are vulnerable to being fooled by others. And that's what the Torah wants us to take away. Rivka goes through this masquerade to teach in the Torah and to teach us that when we're making decisions, we need to be so aware of how vulnerable we are as human beings. There's so much research done on this now. The world of Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow, and many others have proven scientifically that the way our brain works, we are really wired to make mistakes. The only saving grace we have is we can be aware that we have that wiring. And once we're aware, then we'll be far better equipped when it comes to those decisions, when it comes to thinking about how to educate our children, how to educate ourselves, how to have our relationships. We won't be fooled by something that looks attractive and enticing, but we'll really be able to dig down and find out what the true answer is. Wishing you a lovely Shabbat, and hopefully we take away from this message in the parasha that in all our lives and all our decisions, we come to true clarity and do the right thing on Shabbos.